fireball. Every time I gaze into your starry eyes, we take the path to Jupiter, and maybe very soon we cruise along the Milky Way and land upon the moon. The wonderland of stardust, we'd zoom away to Mars. My heart would be a fireball, a fireball, 'cause you would be my Venus of the stars.
For a long time, about the only people who gave much thought to the idea of going to the moon were science fiction writers. In October 1957, the Soviets launched Sputnik, and everything changed. Suddenly, going to the moon was a possibility. The question was, how do you do it? 4 months after Sputnik, Wernher von Braun briefed the head of the National Advisory Committee on Aeronautics. He presented the two best options for going to the moon.
Well, there are two methods. The first method we call direct ascent. You build an enormous rocket, put a capsule on top, boom, you go straight to the moon. The other method we call Earth Orbit Rendezvous. Instead of using one huge rocket, we perform several launches with somewhat smaller rockets, each carrying a component of the spacecraft. We put the pieces together in orbit, and off we go.
And these two methods, these are the only ways of getting to the moon?
Yes.
Actually, there were other ideas.
So we started thinking, what can we do right now? And then it hit us.
The moon! You rendezvous on the surface of the moon.
The problem isn't getting a man to the moon.
That's easy.
It's not easy.
Relatively easy.
Pretty easy. The problem is getting him back.
So we say,
You send up some ships to the moon with all the extra fuel and supplies you need to get back. That way, when the astronauts arrive, everything they need to get home is already there.
we put a man on the moon as soon as possible.
Just get him there.
We can keep sending him supply ships.
Until we figure a way to get him back.
Well, that's... that's... No. No, I'm sorry, gentlemen. I'm sorry, but there is no way on God's green earth we would ever do anything like that. I'm sorry.
It looked like either Earth orbit rendezvous or direct ascent would be the way to go.
And either way we go, the spacecraft that lands on the moon is going to look like that.
Yes, just like that.
No. Doesn't have to look like this at all.
At Chancevot Industries in Texas, an engineer named Tom Dolan hit upon an interesting idea.
You ever hear of a Russian rocket guy named Yuri Kondratyuk? Back in 1916, he realized something that we seem to have forgotten today. Getting to the moon is going to be all about weight. Look at the size of this thing. It's got to be 60, 70 feet tall, a couple of 100 tons at least. Do you really need to take all that to the surface? No. Well, Kondratyuk wondered, what I wonder is, what if you took along a smaller vehicle, lightweight, that you just used to land? Something like this.
But Tom, you could never re-enter the Earth's atmosphere in that.
I know. You come back on the spacecraft you took from Earth.
But that means you'd have to have a rendezvous between the two of them in lunar orbit.
Exactly. Von Braun calls his method Earth orbit rendezvous. I call this lunar orbit rendezvous.
Tom, we don't even know if rendezvous is possible in Earth orbit. And you want to do it around the moon? But wouldn't that be kind of dangerous?
I don't know. Would it?
Well, Mr. Dolan, this is certainly a very interesting idea. Why don't you let us think about it?
Well, I've prepared a report.
Oh, I have everything I need right here, Mr. Dolan. Thank you for your time.
Chances are, Lunar Orbit Rendezvous would probably have ended up as nothing more than a footnote in the history of space exploration if a report on the idea hadn't landed on the desk of a NASA engineer by the name of John Hubble. When he first started reading the report, Hubble had the same reaction others did. Lunar Orbit Rendezvous seemed like just another far-fetched scheme. But the more he read, the more the idea made sense. By the time John Hubble finished the report, he knew. This was it. This was how you get to the moon.
Now, over the past few weeks, I've been able to prepare this report on Lunar Orbit Rendezvous, and I think you'll find it very interesting.
Look at Hubble. He reads the report and he's Moses come down from the mountain.
So he's a little enthusiastic.
A little enthusiastic? He's making a fool of himself. Did you hear what happened in the Heaton Committee?
Yeah.